Hello. Welcome to tonight's evening of fine kunst. Take it easy saying that one, room practicing. My name is Jay Stewart and I'm convener for tonight's event. I lecture at Central School of Speech and Drama on TV undergraduate and postgraduate programmes. And I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes before we begin our performances and presentations, just outlining a little about what's coming up and hopefully to flesh out some ideas around the background really of today and who's been involved. So tonight's Kleinkunst is one of a series of events that has come out of the Neo-Burlesque Feminist Conference that was convened by friend and colleague Isabel Terretz, who also works at Central School of Speech and Drama, also known as Doris Latrine, some people might know under that title. And what came out from that day most clearly was just a marking really of the multiple and rich and various short performance art practices that are currently taking place across, not just across this country, but across a host of different countries, in pubs, bars, festivals, alternative spaces, subcultural club scenes. And what was clear from the conference is that there's a need to talk about these performances, to ask critical questions around the various performances, to push, we hope, our thinking on these performances and even our artistry. I know that there's probably quite a few of you who attended the day's conference, and it's good to know that there's a continued interest in this subject matter. So we welcome you tonight to get involved in the discussion of the evening. We also wish to welcome new faces, new viewpoints, just to add into the mix and to keep the flavour fresh. So we hope that there's going to be significant time allocated to discussion. So get those thinking caps on and make some notes if you want to. Having said that, we have packed in probably too much than we should have. And so we're hoping that there's a nice balance. So this space is primarily about bringing together performers, practitioners, events organisers, producers, academic writers and lecturers, and students as well, which is a big importance to us. There are also many people performing short performance art practices, as well as carrying out their own postgraduate research around this subject area. And so we hope that this space is beneficial for the people who straddle roles and will have multiple roles. I think that's very important. Tonight is our first event, and we've chosen to open this space out to a host of different genres and types of short performance art practices. So hence the name Kleinkunst, little art, what we might call low arts. So it's cabaret, burlesque, vaudeville, variety. We're including all of these genres here in Kleinkunst, and including all the neo and hybrid forms that come out of these. And instead of doing another conference day, we wanted to do a series of events so that discussion is ongoing. We think this is very important, so that people can feed back into the space as they go about their practices and develop their artistic and theoretical interests over time. And we deliberately chose this space to be small and intimate so that we can feel comfortable chipping in with conversations, with comments. Just to say, in order to plan for today, we formed a working group of about 10 of us, some of whom are performing and presenting tonight. We're planning 2 more events, one to take place in October and next April. And we want people to get involved, so this is an opportunity, we hope, to continue finding out about what's happening out there as well, what you're doing. So in order to do that, we've got a keep in touch form, which we're going to distribute at the interval and after the session. And hopefully you can tell us a bit about yourself, about how you might want to get involved in future events. There's also a tick list for just to simply be invited to the next event. I think it's important as well. The only rules that we've set is that we don't repeat our presenters and performers, so there's a kind of newness coming through over the next, at least the next 3 events. We're hoping that the next event's going to be at the Roundhouse, and April next year we're hoping to tie in with the circus theme. So there's concepts there around the freak show or the sideshow, bringing flavours out around the alternative circus. But again, this just really depends on who's involved. So tonight's event is being funded by the SET office at Central School of Speech and Drama. And SET stands for Centre for Excellence in Training for Theatre. And I just wanted to flag this up really because it strikes me as rather interesting around this notion of excellence. And I think there's some key questions that we want to set out for today. From what or through whose set of values do we attribute excellence? Is the criteria to attribute excellence in these short performance art practices the same as other types of performances, perhaps more mainstream performances? When such performance practice plays on its association with the debauched, the perverse and the lowbrow, should we consider the excellence of kleine Kunst differently? Is excellence itself something we wish to challenge? Do kleine Kunst artists do kleine Kunst artists even wish to be excellent? Like, what is it that we want to be? If being excellent is associated with valorisation and legitimacy, we know these are the things that have been challenged through queer communities over the last couple of decades. But also, perhaps we want some valorisation as kleine Kunst artists. Perhaps this event is doing some of that work. So I think there's some sort of productive tensions here as to how we can speak critically of such work and what we hope to achieve when we do this. So that's just very quickly some of the underlying questions that we hope flow through tonight's performances and papers, and I'm just going to leave it there. As I said, we've packed quite a lot into our 3 hours, and what we've decided is rather than keep coming up introducing acts, we're going to kind of introduce 3 at a time. And so basically we're going to have Cha-Cha, Dusty and then Gavin, and then that's going to be followed by a Q&A and an interval. After that we're going to have another 5 acts or presentations. So it seems a bit heavy sort of towards the end, but we're hoping that you have lots of opportunities to drink lots of alcohol and think that you're brilliant. That's a purposely done. Just to thank a couple of people, just before we start now. The design team from Central School of Speech and Drama. It's a fantastic space that they've created. I think many of them are working towards the end of their degree, and it's fantastic that they've taken the time to go to such great lengths, really, to make the space so special. Just to sort of say, people are invited to try on the various props and costumes that are kind of on your table and have fun, so there's a blurring of boundaries between performance and audience. Having said that, please do not take them home with you. We want them back, thanks. Just to thank as well Jamie Crabb and Maddie Trigg, who've been key members of the team supporting the design team and keeping us all on track. Our fabulous waiters, we want to thank them for supplying the alcohol. Lucy and Layla from the Roundhouse, who were our integral partners with Central School of Speech and Drama and the Roundhouse, we'd like to thank them. Just to say a couple more things then, that is that we are filming this event. If people do not wish to be filmed, then the idea is to make yourself known to our stills photographer, Stephen, and what he's going to do is just take a photo of your headshot, and then we can marry up that image with the ones that we capture, and we won't release any of the footage that people are happy to do that. There are also some young people from the Roundhouse who've taken part in a fantastic project who want to film this as well and cut it together. So let's just sort of flag up who else is in the room. And we've got an editor actually under the stage at this moment in time. I don't know whether he can give us a wave. It's at the back. So that's fun. He's piecing everything together and they're streamlining out into all these amazing things. That's fantastic. Can we just make sure the mobile phones are switched off? Fire exits are here and here. And there's a no smoking policy. That sounds really sad. Okay, that's it then. So We're going to have 3 performances, Char Char, Dusty and Gavin. I think I'll just leave it at that. Let's just go for it.